Hi, welcome to the IEP for Home. My name is Eric Von Hahn. I'm a developmental behavioral pediatrician. I work at Tufts Medicine Pediatrics in Boston. I created the IEP for Home to help parents teach their child important life skills that help them to really benefit from their IEP when they go to school. This video clip is dedicated to teaching the habits of good sleeping. To begin with, we've got to think about, so what is good sleeping? Good sleeping consists of four things. You've got to sleep the right number of hours per night. You've got to be sleeping at the right times. You've got to be sleeping independently, and you've got to be sleeping without the aid of medications. I'm going to go through some of those factors now, breaking them down into the same objectives that you can find when you look at the sleeping guide that's on the IEP for Home website. The first thing to do is, how many hours of sleep per night is my child supposed to have? There's more than one way to figure out the number, and you can look on the website for some suggestions. This is how you use the guessing method. The guessing method just means look at your child's age and then figure out how many hours of sleep your child is supposed to get. A toddler gets about 12 to 14 hours of sleep per 24 hours. A preschool child gets 10 to 11 hours of sleep per 24 hours. A young school-age child will get about 10 hours of sleep per 24 hours. An older elementary school student might need 9 or 10 hours of sleep per night. And finally, in adolescence, you probably need about 9 hours. It's really worth spending a bit of time thinking, how many hours is my own child supposed to sleep? You've really got to figure out the right number of hours, because the next step, figuring out the schedule, depends upon it. So let's say you figured out that your child needs 9 or let's say 10 hours of sleep per night. Now what you've got to do is set up a sleeping schedule. You know when the bedtime's supposed to be and when the wake-up time is supposed to be. So you start out with the right number of hours. We're going to use 10 hours as an example. The next stage is for you to figure out what time do you want the child to wake up. Seems a bit odd, right? Everyone's focused on the bedtime. Really what matters is, what's the wake-up time supposed to be? Here's one little situation where you as the parent can be a little bit selfish. You can choose the wake-up time that works best for you, your child, and for the family. Gives them enough time to get ready for school and get out of the house on time. So if you choose, let's say, 6 o'clock as your preferred wake-up time, and if you know your child needs 10 hours of sleep, you're going to count backwards, and 8 o'clock has now become the bedtime. If your child needs to wake up at 7, say, and you think they only really need about 9 hours of sleep, guess what? The bedtime is going to be 10 o'clock. Seems a bit late, but that actually is going to be the right time for your child. Okay, so we've gotten 2 objectives done already. One is, how many hours does my child need to sleep? And the second objective you've just completed is, when should the bedtime be? And when, even more important, when should the wake-up time be? Now, let's keep going forwards here. You can enhance the sleep quality of your child by using positive sleep onset associations. What that means is you create the environment that really helps to foster good sleeping habits. There's a couple of basics that you probably already know about. Biological needs are been taken care of before bedtime. Any drinking that has to happen, any eating that has to happen, and also any digital media that has to happen, all happens 30 to 60 minutes before the bedtime. You want to get those out of the way of the bedtime routine, okay? The second part is, when you do start the bedtime routine, it should be short. It should involve a quick tuck-in from mom or from dad. The room should be dark. The room should be cool. There shouldn't be any digital media in the room, even if they're turned off. And maybe for young kids, you're going to have a pillow or a toy or a blanket that's going to help them understand, now it's time for me to go to sleep. There's a little bit of a caveat here, because in a lot of the kids that I see, there's co-sleeping happening with the parents. And co-sleeping can really monkey with the sleeping schedule. Why? Because parents don't need the same kind of schedule as the kids do. It's more difficult to create quality sleep for your child when you as the parent and your child have different sleeping needs. For now, we're not going to try to teach your child how to sleep independently, because there's a bunch of complications in teaching a child how to do that. So really the first steps that you want to focus on are, how many hours does my child need to sleep? What's the wake-up time supposed to be? What's the bedtime supposed to be? And then how can I create some positive sleep onset associations? If you can get through all of that, you've done a really good service to your child. They are going to sleep better. Initially, when you do the training, you're probably going to have to continue with the co-sleeping and really give your child exactly what they need even in terms of co-sleeping, to develop all those other habits that I just discussed with you. After a week or two, or maybe 3, after your child has been sleeping the right number of hours per night every night, after your child has been waking up very consistently at the right time each day, and after your child goes to bed at the right time, and when the sleep onset associations are properly set up, that's then the time for you to start to think about how can you help your child to sleep independently. Sleeping independently is a tough skill. It feels pretty emotional for a lot of parents and their kids. Look at the IEP for Home website for some suggestions and discuss it with your pediatric healthcare provider. Hopefully they'll be able to give you some good ideas. So that was the end of the sleeping video clip. I hope this information is useful. Take a look at www.iepforhome.org for more information.